Hail Satguru Dev! All devotees are requested that the spiritual discourse is about to start. Please settle down peacefully at the discourse site and listen to the discourse with devotion. The loving souls of God are requested again that the spiritual discourse is about to start. Please settle down peacefully at the discourse site and listen to the discourse with devotion. Sat Sahib.
Viewers, the spectacular and supernatural spiritual discourses of the universe guru Sant Rampalji Maharaj have brought a revolution in the spiritual knowledge not only in India but also across the world. Millions of devotees have sent congratulatory letters for broadcasting our spiritual discourses. Along with this, a few devotees have sent in their doubts too. We met Sant Rampalji Maharaj for a solution to problems of devotees and answering their serious major problems. So let's listen to solution of all the queries of devotees offered by most revered Sant Rampalji Maharaj itself. So let's listen to solutions of all the queries of devotees offered by most revered Sant Rampalji Maharaj himself.
So, pious souls, how will we find out unless we are told about it? God himself came, lived here for 120 years and went back. We didn't know how to recognize the ruby, due to which we kept failing. And it is one thing to make a statement, but I will prove with evidence that in this world, no one possesses spiritual knowledge or any solution, and that there is no God like Kabir, and there is no knowledge like the one given by God Kabir himself to this servant of God, to this servant. Supreme Father God, Purna Brahma, Creator of the entire nature, God Kabir has bestowed a special grace on all of us human beings. He has himself come and given us this knowledge that why we are taking birth and why are we dying. The property and the offspring whom we strive to protect day and night, all this gets destroyed in front of our eyes. What is the reason behind this? By souls, there was no one who could impart this knowledge to us, as a result of which we could not see an alternative to this. We considered it to be final, that birth and death will continue. Today we realize this because no one could remove this question mark to date as to why we die and why we take birth. We form such a nice family and we have so much love in them, affection and attachment. And in a matter of a second, we lose everything. If sometime we get worried about this, then we conclude that this is happening with everyone. We have considered it to be a norm that this will definitely happen, but let us continue with our work. Which work shall we continue to do? Construct villas, bungalows, buy a luxurious car and then die. What kind of work was this? All the incidents that are happening with us, you see every day in any village or at anyone's home. Even we ourselves have faced many such incidents. So why is this all happening? So for that, God himself comes and enlightens us that we have come to this wrong world. God himself explains the true way of worship, the real process and procedure to get rid of this disease of birth and death. And for that, God himself comes along with his body from where he is residing. So God reminds us to peek a bit into the past and in the future, and not to limit ourselves to the present only. If we peek into our past, look into the past, then what does God state? God has himself come and imparted spiritual knowledge to his beloved soul Garib Das Ji. What has he said? Bhai aage gaye na bavre. Aage means the ones who have already departed. Aage gaye na bavde, ye rehte bhi sab jahi. बिन साहिब की बंदगी कहीं ठोर ठिकाना नाही. Our grandfather, great-grandfather went away, and there is not even a trace of them anywhere. No one knows in which creature's body they might be suffering, and they had wished for their clan to prosper. Even their clan propagated, but what did they achieve? And where is the clan before them who have all died? There is not even a trace of them. So here God states, to explain to us, क्या मांगू कुछ थिर न रहाई, ये देखत नैन चला जग जाई. 1,00,000 पूत 1,25,00,000 नाती, उस रावण के दीवाना बाती. On obtaining a child, even if you will share felicitations for 2 days, God says Ravan had 1,00,000. He had 1,00,000 sons, and no one from his clan is alive today to light a lamp. There is no trace of him. His lineage got destroyed. He also died, and even his kingdom ended. So God wants to remind us, God has reminded us that this is the plight of whatever has happened in the past. You are currently witnessing that no living being is happy here, and everyone has a desire to become a millionaire, to become extremely wealthy, to build a magnificent bungalow, to buy a car, to be respected in the world, because this is what we have learned so far. So God says that even if you acquire all this, like there are many who have big bungalows, and as a result of their past virtues, they have big cars and they also have excessive wealth, and you also see that in a moment, anybody can die. Wealthy businessmen are found dead inside their own helicopters after a crash. What will happen next? God cautions us for future. फिर पीछे तू पशुआ कीजे गधा बैल बनाई. और ये 56 भोग कहाँ मन बोरे, कहीं कुर्डी चरने जाई. We cannot believe it at the moment because we have all the comforts. And this Kal God has mechanized our mind in such a way that we are always thinking that work has to be done, that has to be done, that work is remaining, I will do that. So this is also inspiration of Kal, and he has constrained you. He has imposed so many responsibilities on you. And for what reason? For a stomach, for a subsistence. To keep this body safe, one has to build a house, wear clothes, and have food. All this is for the protection of the body so that it remains fine. And there is no guarantee when it might perish and for what reason. So here God says, Kabir ye tan jayega, sake to thahar la. एक सेवा कर सतगुरु की और गोविंद के गुण गा. One day this mortal body of yours will be destroyed, and as soon as the end of your human life will come, you will immediately perish, no matter how much work of yours is pending. At that instance, it will not be seen that your boy is not married or the girl is yet to be married. Kal will not see this. A devotee was telling that his maternal uncle had 5-6 girls, and due to the wrong tradition of dowry in our society, we have considered girls to be a curse on us. In that dowry, one has to make a lot of unnecessary expenditure, because of which he said that his maternal aunt had gone to invite people. The marriage of 3 girls had been kept at the same time. A person who has many daughters contemplates to bear all the expenses at once and wishes everything to go well. Now, how much burden would there be on the mind of a parent whose 3 daughters are about to be married? That parent is continuously engrossed in thoughts while walking somewhere. In this way, she was standing at the bus stand, engrossed in her own thoughts. I will bring such things, I will do like this, money will be available from there. Meanwhile, a bus driver was reversing his bus. Aur sake tho thahar la. Then that thahar has been explained. Which thahar? Ek seva kar Satguru ki or Govind ke gunga. So God himself has come and given that knowledge, which is a special support, special way of worship by which God helps us. If on this occasion you will properly adopt this path and follow it throughout your life, then this is your last human life. You will become happy forever and reach Satlok, where there is no death, no illness, and no old age. The creation there is similar to what is here. This one is duplicate, that one is original. You will acquire a similar family there. You will remain happy forever. You will travel in aircrafts. Every person owns an individual aircraft there. They also have their respective massive gardens and bungalows. Pious souls, it is very easy to attain God. Due to ignorance, our religious gurus had made it very difficult. Our holy books state that it is a straightforward path. Absolutely simple. It is an ordinary path, way of worship. God's mantra has to be chanted. You will attain salvation through mantra. It has some supportive activities. These are 5 religious rituals. You have to do these as well. This is what you have. God has given you in your family. Keep doing that as well. You will succeed. When we become highly distressed because of not doing worship, until our virtues are going on, we are happy. When the virtues finish, a mountain of miseries befall us. At that time, even a king thinks of taking the refuge of God alone. He knows that God is the supreme power and he makes a distressed person happy. If you will already be in the refuge of God, then miseries won't befall you. Until we come in the refuge of Supreme God Kabir, we receive the results of our previous deeds. That is, we get the result of good and bad deeds that we performed in the previous lives, and when we come in the refuge of Supreme God Kabir through a Supreme Saint who is a recipient of his favor, then sins do not affect us. We only get the results of our good deeds. And if there is some bad deed in our previous deeds that can cause harm to us, then God eliminates it. That is why we search for God. That is why we used to search for God, so that we do not face any hardship. We are doing worship and the hardships are also occurring, then either that way of worship is not correct, that God is not complete, or there is some shortcoming in your worship. We face miseries solely due to these 3 reasons. So the purport is that God comes and enlightens us. And it is your good fortune that you have already taken the refuge of God. Now that we have come in the refuge of God, then our everyday task will also be performed better than before, because when we are distressed, we go to God in search of happiness. Whether you have come in distress or happiness, now there will be no misery. And even if there will be any misery due to a harsh deed, It will be subdued by the grace of God. This is mentioned in God's qualities, and you will also attain Him here. Now the devotees who have come here in distress, they should not worry, thinking that we have remembered God now in misery only. How will our prayers be heard? It is for those who have not found God properly, who have not found a saint. And they invoke other gods because they could neither give you any benefit nor cause any harm. Which gods? Sri Brahma Ji, Sri Vishnu Ji, Sri Shiv Ji, the other 330 million deities under and these, Brahma and Parbrahm, who have been addressed as Kshar Purush and Akshar Purush respectively in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 16. They can only give you the result of your deeds, results of whatever virtuous deeds and sins you have committed. And to date, whenever you were happy, you never remembered God. And when you were distressed, you used to cry before these, and these gods have no capability. So God was narrating account of that time, that now you are crying before these gods. Who will listen to your appeals now? Today, you have come in the refuge of that God, in whose mantra Satnam. The meaning of Satnam is true mantra, right worship, right mantra. That is correct mantra, true mantra. It is called Satnam. The first mantra that is given to you is the original mantra. Nobody had any idea about it till now. Nobody had been able to find it out till now. So this had to be revealed now only. So whoever has received this mantra even by doing its worship, the first and the last mantra, in these 7 mantras that have been given to you for chanting, in these the first and the last mantra are destroyer of sins, and your earnings of virtuous deeds are enhanced by the middle mantras. And pious souls, today in this world there is no guru except this servant of God, let alone a Satguru. There is not even a guru. Like an ill person expects his illness to be cured, a childless person expects to have a child even if it is deemed necessary to grant you a child, then you will only get it here. No one else can grant it to you in the whole world. It will be done and if your illness has to be cured, and it will definitely be cured, your illness will certainly be cured. As far as granting a child is concerned, if God wishes, then He can do anything. It has a long history. I will explain it to you some other time. Here there are thousands of such examples of couples who had been married for 10, 12, 15, 20 years and were still childless.